I think we're having some technical difficulties, Greta. I've seen participants go way up and way down, but it seems like we're back to a stable number. I do not see that Marcia has gone to kick us off, so I guess you and I will do that. I have it in front of me, so I'll just go ahead and kick off the what we're talking about today. Basically, we're talking about how INA can continue to elevate and nurture the quality of childcare throughout the world by establishing standards, increasing awareness, promoting information, and providing support for not only our members, but the industry as a whole. Greta, would you like to add to that or kick things off in your way?
I mean, I don't really have anything specific to add, except for I would say that's how INA got a hold of me all those years ago. When I was working as a nanny in 2009, I stumbled upon the INA because I was searching for information on what it meant to be a professional nanny and what the standards were and what excellence looked like. And that's how I found the INA. And that's a big reason that it drew me in before I knew anyone, before I attended any kind of conference. And I'm really passionate about that, about us being the expert and sharing information and being that resource. So I love the mission for that reason. And I think, it's been tweaked over the years, but essentially, that is what drew me to the INA all those years ago.
Great. Well, I think that we should let people jump in and tell us what they would like to say. If you could please raise your hand just so that we can do so in an orderly fashion. There's a little raise hand button at the bottom. Also, a quick reminder, this is a professional organization and a professional venue. While we hope that you will speak freely with us, we hope that everyone will do so in a manner that is professional and respectful to all of those in attendance.
Rachel, before I hopped on, did you have a chance to introduce yourself and who you are? Maybe we should. I know Helen's here too. Introduce us as board members if you didn't already.
I did not. A valid point. I am Rachel Lawrence. I am the interim treasurer at this point for the INA. I was on the INA board many, many moons ago, but rejoined about a year ago. How am I connected to the industry? I was a nanny. I was a nanny employer. I ran an agency, and now I work for Homework Solutions. How about you, Greta?
Yeah, so I found, like I said before, found the INA in 2009, came to my first conference a month after finding the website, got on the phone with, it was Michelle Leroux at the time, and she basically talked me into coming to conference. But over the years, started out of information that I gathered through the INA, started a community for nannies here in Cincinnati, Ohio, worked as a nanny for years, then had my own kids and started an agency. So we still have a huge community here in Cincinnati. It's a big part of who we are, but I now own an agency, and I've been on the board on and off through that time, almost totaling 9 years, and I'm finishing up my term this fall. I'm going to take a break. But yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Helen, I know that you are in a starkly different time zone than some of the rest of us. So if you want to introduce yourself, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Helen McCarthy. I'm actually at work. So if you hear a small person in the background, he's actually having tea because it's just gone 5 o'clock here in the UK. I am currently the co-vice president along with Sue Downey, and I found the INA when my boss nominated me for Nanny of the Year, which I was awarded in 2016. And since then, I've then become involved with the board, have sat on the board of directors for the last 4 years, and hopefully we'll be back on the board when the new results are announced. But I'm going to go off camera and off mic as well because you won't want to hear him.
Thanks, Helen. It looks like Alice has her hand up. Alice, would you go ahead?
Hi there, everybody. I'm very happy to be here this morning, and I'm going to be off camera because I'm actually in an Uber car ride on the way to a 9:30 appointment here. I'm in California, so just wanted to just quickly chime in. I'm the founder and executive director currently of the nonprofit Institute for Families and Nannies, and we've been working closely, and INA's been very supportive of our work here. We're on a mission to provide recognized education and career pathways for nannies, again, to support quality care, and thrilled to be having the INA be setting some standards here. As you all know, it's vitally needed for the segment of the industry. So just very quickly, we were very, very fortunate here, California, to work closely with California Community College, Foothill, and we're able to get 3 unique nanny courses approved by the California Department of Education. And these courses were launched at Foothill College in September of this past year, 2021, and enrolled 37 nannies in the program. It's the first time that nannies, to our knowledge, have the opportunity to earn college credit for taking courses in a community college that count towards an associate degree in child development. So these courses are now currently going back into the California Department of Education to be approved to be a certificate in nanny and family studies. And we're working closely with the California Community College system to get this implemented in at least a pilot program starting next January, and 2 or 3 additional colleges in addition to the one at Foothill. So that's one. And then we have a workforce development program where we're supporting nannies to reach same standards as anybody that is required to work in licensed care. So it's basically helping nannies get resumes and references, health, safety, and background checks together to go through a process to find employment and with families. So that's it. I just wanted to weigh in and update everybody. We actually just also completed a survey where the San Mateo County here in California, they asked us to do a survey of the County Office of Education asked us to do a survey of nannies to evaluate their interest in education and job training opportunities. And that was nannies in the county were able to get 200 people respond to the survey. So we're looking to evaluate the results, and they'll be ready in another couple of weeks. We're in the evaluation process. So again, that's it. I again wanted to just check in and let you know what we're doing here to support the work that all the great work that INA is doing.
It is fabulous work. That sounds lovely, Alice. I know that's been a real area of growth for our industry in this country. Helen, of course, is used to credentialing in her country and other countries, but it is somewhere that we've seen a lot of growth as of late in the US. So I think that's a really great point to bring up. I know there have been, I feel like there was one in Tennessee maybe a while back that was doing something similar. I don't know that it was the same. Greta, do you remember?
It was in Kentucky. I believe it was in
Kentucky.
Lexington through, it began with an S, but I remember like it was really a groundbreaking program that didn't last as long as I wish it would have.
Yeah, I think it's great that we're moving towards, hopefully various credentialing. Of course, INA does the credential exam, but more importantly, like you said, some training and other things in this country as well. It looks like Martha has her hand up. Martha Escudero, would you like to speak? You are muted on our side. Martha, if you're speaking, we can't hear you. You're muted. I'll give you another minute to see if maybe it's just a tech glitch. There we go. It looks like you're unmuted. Still can't hear you, Martha. I'm wondering if maybe you have something like an earbud in that doesn't have a microphone. attached to it. And so it's blocking the input of your voice, even though you might be able to hear us.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I just got disconnected there, so I missed some of what was being said. Apologies. I should be back online now, so and can continue to listen in. Thank you.
I believe that was Alice speaking. Martha, are you there? Martha, you can chime in if it resolves itself. I don't want to cut you off, but since we can't hear you, I'm going to see if anyone else has questions, comments, concerns. Sometimes it's just an idea. You don't really know. I have this plan laid out and I want INA to do this, but something's just been teasing the back of my brain and I want to chat with other people in the industry about it.
Looks like she's trying to connect to the audio, so.
Sometimes I know if you're out and about, tech just doesn't work the way you wish it would. Donna, Jessica, Sherry, Lori, Takita, Kelsey, anyone who has anything to say, you really are quite welcome. This is a public forum for everyone.
I just wanted to say hello. I just wanted to listen in this morning. I'm excited. I actually happen to have the day off. I'm in California. And I just happened to have the day off. So I was actually able to join you guys this morning. So I was excited for that. This isn't always a good time for me. So I'm doing my nails while I listen in. So I'm gonna have my video off, but just say good morning and listening to all the stuff that's happening at INA.
Perfect.
Takita's at work, but she says in the chat that this is her first meeting with a smiley face. So welcome to your first meeting, Takita.
Well, since there is a lull in conversation, why don't Greta and I tell you a little bit about some things that are going on that may spark conversation or just a continued awareness of what's going on in the INA. We have done some great reorganization where we're really thinking about what is our mission, how can we fulfill that mission, how can we bring more people into the fold of not only being members, but then also serving on committees and the board, because we want everyone at the table. We want everyone's amazing ideas. As you can see just on this call, we are all over the world right now. And being a nanny in one community and being a nanny in another community, or being a business owner in one community and in a different community, are rarely the same experience in this organization. And so everyone's voice matters so much. We also are all at different stages of our careers, from someone who's just jumping in to someone who's been here a long time. We're at different stages of our membership in INA. And all of those things provide perspective. And that's something that can't be undervalued. It really is what drives this organization. Our membership and what they need and who they are and their perspective are what helps us decide where to put money, where to spend time and energy. It alerts us to things we weren't aware of because we live somewhere else or have a different circumstance. So we've been doing things like reorganizing committees so that it's more effective and so that it's more welcoming for people to join into the folds and maybe not jump right into something like a board of directors seat. Maybe you want to get your feet wet a little bit and see what committee work is like, and you want to go ahead and be part of the committee work in an area that interests you.
Yeah, and I would add that, you know, one of the points in the mission is promoting awareness. And that's something that we have spent some time preparing to do again with the revamping of the website and the brand. We actually have a lot of resources available to nannies, to businesses, to newborn care specialists that haven't been organized very well. So they're there, but they're really hard to work through or find what you're looking for. We have webinars, we have resources, we have tools, we have articles, we have so many blogs. And yet, you know, it's almost embarrassing, but like we were in a board meeting a month ago and I was told about a resource that I didn't even know we had. And I, as a business owner, would have used that resource. And I was like, we have that, but it's not been because we haven't shared it. It has been shared over the year or over time, but it was just that it hasn't been organized in a way that we've been able to find it. And so that was part of the revamping of the website, is to have the resources organized in a way that things can be found. And we're still working on it. It's not quite all there. But that's something I'm really excited about, because if we are the expert in this industry, if we are setting standards, if we really want excellence, and we're creating things for that, we're, you know, having guest speakers, we're having professionals and experts speak to our membership and beyond, then we want to be able to access that be able to share that and access that. So that's one thing that I'm excited about, to see more come from that, and to be able to share more with the membership and even beyond to just the world that needs to know more about the nanny industry. So. I think, you know, a question that I have for all of you that are listening is, when I talk about those resources, kind of a side question to that, what resources might you feel, and they might be there, and I might not even know that what all the resources are, but what resources would be a benefit to you if you had something at your fingertips that you could utilize in your job, with your employer, as a business owner? Is there something out there that that you wish was there, or that you're curious is there?
Chiquita answered accepting vouchers. I think what she's referring to, if people are unfamiliar, are vouchers, childcare vouchers, if you're an agency. I know many moons ago when I was an agency, I did sometimes get that call. I don't know the answer. Do you, Greta? No?
No, I don't.
But it's something that we can jot down and look into. You know, I don't know if their agencies are doing this and have a great plan for it, or if we, you know, just generally as an industry don't qualify for whatever those parameters are. But I am happy to take a note and we can look into that.
So I actually have a open time to chime in for a moment. So hi everyone, this is me in person. Yeah, so I've actually been getting a lot of families who've been asking if I can accept like certain assistant vouchers, which I would love to. And even more so, I just got a text message saying that my nanny kid will be here in 5 minutes. So yeah, I would love to like start accepting vouchers. And not only that, a lot of these some of the vouchers I've seen, they would only have up to, I know when I did the math, it was only up to about maybe a month worth of childcare. And these are families that are looking for like full-time childcare, or even with 20 hours a week, it's still not a lot of childcare hours provided. So I'm wondering if there's a way that we could advocate to certain governments, even if we got to start small in like one state. I live in Maryland, but I'm open to reaching out other places if anyone will think it'll be easier to do it in like maybe New York, or I don't know, just throwing out some places. Yeah, if there's a way we can reach out to governments and say, you know, we want to start accepting family assistance, because, you know, one, you know, just being real, money is money. But also, I know there might be some holdups when it comes to government funding. Like even I used to have government assistance, fortunately not for daycare, but it is still quite a process for a lot of things through government assistance. Like right before I didn't get food stamps anymore, I can't even tell you the hoops and hurdles they tried to put me through before I just said I don't want to deal with food stamps anymore. So yeah, I think that's more so what I'm looking for. I want to help low income people. I know nannies are pricey, but so was daycare, and there's vouchers for daycare. So even if we can get families to be able to handle half the money or whatever would be financially benefit on both ends, I think that's something I really would like to advocate for and work towards.
That's a really interesting point. I know about 9 months ago, maybe almost a year ago, the military expanded their program for what they would reimburse families for. They always had, of course, base childcare, right? On base, you had childcare, but then there was a voucher program if you couldn't get on or there wasn't one at your base because you were stationed somewhere smaller. And now they have expanded that to in-home childcare. I'm not certain that it's real easy to work through that system, like you were saying, but technically, I was helping someone the other day who the plan was that essentially the government was paying for not all, but a good chunk of his nanny's wages, reimbursing him for that. So I will certainly pass this on to Marcia because, times change and sometimes they only change if we make noise about it, right? Martha, you look like you have your hand. Oh, I'm sorry, Taquita, were you not finished? I apologize.
Just real quick, because my nanny kid's bus didn't pull up yet. But when you mentioned military, I actually had someone, it didn't go through, but someone who reached out to me from military base, and I was trying to figure out if that's something that we can do. Are we allowed on base without like proper ID, or how do we network more with the military?
To that. I just read about this government program after this man brought it to my attention that they had expanded the reimbursement, but I'm not sure that's also a good point, right? Are there other places that we are underserving the community that might be options, with qualifications, right? Whatever that is to get on base.
Okay. Yeah. So I guess that would be like my secondary concern, because honestly, I don't know too much about the military, but yeah, low income families is something that is really dear to my heart. Just, to start it from the bottom. Now we hear kind of story for myself. So, and nannying has helped me get to that, from that. And it's just so many people like actually low income families helped me before I became a nanny. So yeah, I just, I just want to figure out a way to give back. And then, yeah, I guess next, not to make anyone sound less than the other, but, next on my list would be like military and getting on all those other places where it's a little hard to get childcare. And my nanny kid's bus just pulled up, so I'm going to be back to chatting. But thanks for listening to me, guys.
Thanks for talking. Martha, it looks like you may have solved your tech problems. Would you like to try? Oh, poor Martha, we still can't hear you. If the audio is challenging in whatever way, it's not connecting through appropriately for you or whatever the scenario might be, you can definitely drop into the chat. If you look at the bottom, I'm not sure what type of device you're on, but there are 3 little dots that say more. If you click on that, there's a chat feature, and you can certainly type in there if the audio is not connecting appropriately. I know, Greta, you were more on the chat than I was. Someone chimed in.
Yeah, Martha actually said it's her first meeting and smiley face. So she's communicating. We just can't hear you if you're trying, Martha. You're welcome to kind of put in the chat what's going on. We also, Taquita was talking before she was talking on screen. And Sherry Rose just shared a little bit about, I just mentioned that you're welcome to share a little, if you're not able to chat live, you can share a little bit about yourself in the chat and where you're located or anything else you want to share, your involvement in the industry, that kind of thing.
Perfect. Well, welcome everyone that dropped in the chat. Did anyone else have questions maybe about what the board's doing, what INA is doing? You want to express something you wish we were doing, or maybe, like Greta said, sometimes you don't know if we are doing it or we aren't doing it. This is a great venue for this. There's certainly no judgment here. If it's something we're already doing, no one's going to say, well, why don't you know that? Aren't you a member? As Greta mentioned, sometimes on the board, one of us will say, oh, I wish we did that. And someone else on the board will say, we do that. Because here's the thing, INA does so much. We have so many years of history and resources and an extensive website and the board working behind the scenes all the time that sometimes just the amount of things that we have, past, present, and hopefully in the future, is so large that it's hard to keep track in your head as to each and everything that INA is doing. Jessica, it looks like you have your hand up.
Hi, so I'm Jessica. I've been a member of the INA for a very long time, actually, and this is the first like meeting I've ever done. And I've not been to a conference yet. I've not been involved in a lot of the INA things. So, yay for being here. And so I thank you guys for hosting this. So I did want to ask, what if there's programs available, or if there's things available for like nannies who are new into the industry, or like younger nannies, or someone who's decided that like I was 19 when I decided that I wanted to be a nanny. What kind of program or like mentorship or like type of thing is out? Is there anything like that out there for those type of nannies or new nannies?
Greta, I feel like you know more about this than I do.
Yeah, I can share a little bit. I mean, as I mentioned before, the resources, I think that there's a lot that nannies could go and kind of search through and find topics that interest them, from childcare related topics to professional development topics. There's definitely webinars and workshops like that that are available to members. We used to have something called Monday Mentorship Monday. That's what it was called. And it was through Facebook, and it was, it would be focused around a topic, but then sometimes it would get off topic, but it was just a place, a time of day during the day on Mondays that board members and volunteers that just volunteered to mentor through the INA would just chat. It was a very informal time that people made themselves available. However, I haven't seen it recently, so it may be either on break, or we might not be doing it anymore. But if you go to the Facebook page, I think that's the cool thing. I think it's in the Facebook group, the Facebook page that's an actual group for members. You can look back at that. We used to have in our past nanny mentors, and it wasn't a very popular, it wasn't so much of a need. It was kind of like people would reach out on a case-by-case basis, and then we would connect them with someone. I don't know that there's a formal mentorship program right now. But I think there's just, I think Mentorship Monday kind of replaced that. It wasn't dormant, because it was, responding as people reached out, but it just wasn't as active. And so I think Mentorship Monday kind of came out of that. And like I said, I'm not sure where it is. That's something I can definitely ask Sue Downey. I believe she was the one that ran that on Mondays, and we can get back to you, Jessica, because that's something that I should know. I should know the answer to that question, but I feel like I haven't seen it announced. But when I stop talking, I might go look it up and let you know.
Also, there's definitely the ability for us to connect community members in a lot of communities, maybe not all, but many nanny support groups are members of the INA. So people who proactively reach out to the office, I know Marcia and Linda would be happy to try to connect you to members of your community. That being said, the point is not missed, Jessica, that we could proactively reach out and give people sort of the doorway, if you will, to do that. Even if we're not doing a mentorship program specifically right now, we certainly could get some stuff out on social media saying, hey, you want to meet people in your area? Look at the membership directory for your area, see if there is a group, an agency, other nannies in your area, contact the office if you need help. We certainly can sort of be proactive in making sure people feel like the door is always open to them. We do have conference guides too. I know personally, looking back, I had to talk myself into that the first time. When I went to conference, I had to say, it's okay. Like, even if you don't know anyone, you'll meet people, and I'm sure everyone there is nice, and I'm sure you will find someone to go out to dinner with, and all of those things. And so we didn't have conference guides back then. I've been in the organization for a bit. But so I kind of had to pull myself up and make myself just go introduce myself, because while I'll chat in venues like this, I am not an extrovert by nature. So I think that that's a great thing too, because in many ways, I think that's harder, right? You're traveling to a city that isn't yours, to go to a hotel where, it's not your space. And then you're also going into a professional environment where you potentially don't know anyone. So I realize not everyone goes to conference. That's certainly not a first step for most people, but we do have that as well.
Is there something, Jessica, that are you thinking about somebody specific that there's a need not being met? I'm curious about the intention of the question, because we're kind of, answering it generally, but is there a specific question that you feel like, is there something specific that we should be doing?
I'm not sure. Like I said, this is like one of my first meetings, and just something I've been thinking about the last couple of days was like how many, looking back on myself as like, I'm 30 now, but like when I was in this industry at 19, just like the ideas and the thoughts and the like, I guess, mistakes and misconceptions I had about this industry, I would have been able to have less of them had I had like some form of like, just specific to like, if you're a new nanny and like this is something that you're considering as a career. Or when I was 19, I didn't actually know that it was a career.
Yeah.
I just thought it was something that Mary Poppins did and that it wasn't a real thing. And then I got my first job and was like, oh, like there's a lot more to this than just hanging out with kids and eating pizza. There's like a whole different level of like, there's your 9-to-5 nannies, there's nannies who travel all over the world. Like there's a whole lot out there, and it's not just babysitting children. And
Yeah.
so if had I known that, I would have approached my career a little differently. I mean, I'm glad that I was able to go through what I went through, but like just was wondering like if that was something that was available or.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely ways for nannies to find that, specifically for nannies. I think about the ambassador program that we have right now, where we have different ambassadors located in different parts of the country, that because of COVID, it's been all, I guess, online connection, online community. But the goal and the reason for that starting was to be able to gather in community in cities and to continue to grow that, so that we had a way to connect in person, or even right now online, because I believe that the information is important, but also when you rub shoulders with someone who's living it, that community and knowing and really getting to know and hear experience, that's what I feel like changed me back when I was a nanny. When I went from, I work as a nanny, to this could be my career, a professional career. When my mindset changed, kind of like, you went through that, it was finding the information, and it was also finding the people that I could look to and say, oh, this is how you're doing it. So I think there are pieces of that happening. And especially if somebody's proactively looking and has that thought, like you did, like I did, oh, what is this? And kind of continues to look for it, I think they will find it in the INA, and will find opportunities to connect. And like Rachel mentioned, there are a lot of nanny communities. So, even just, if a nanny becomes a member and they're in Cincinnati, hopefully they're going to hear about Cincy Nanny, which is a community for nannies in Cincinnati. So there are, communities that are connected to that have membership and that have their information in the membership directory, and that hopefully that, you know, those connections are made organically or even digitally, and then become, you know, an actual relationship. I see that Tamara has her hand raised.
Yeah, I do. Hi,
Hi,
everybody.
welcome.
So this is kind of also my first year being a member of the INA, and I had the pleasure and a wonderful time at conference this past month or two ago. And just to continue on with the question from the last nanny, I personally have reflected on like that exact notion the same 2 years, like the same last 2 years or so, especially as COVID has increased. Would that be something just along the lines of this type of thing? Would that be something taken back to like one of the committees, such as like the education committee, or things like of that nature, or discussions of this type taken back from this type of meeting to the individual committees? Because if so, that would definitely be something I would possibly look to join in the long end or so. Just to, I think specifically that topic would be awesome for future nannies, or just kind of figuring out how those would like to direct. But that, I feel like, just piggybacking on the last nanny, it is definitely a topic that needs to be covered, because there is so many different avenues of nannying, and it would be great for younger nannies as well as older nannies to be able to identify what type of pathway they want to take, and kind of have a streamline or basis to use that. And I think the INA will be kind of like a great source for that, if possible.
Yeah, one of the ways that we've reorganized committees, and I'm glad that you're sort of bringing that connection up, is we've started changing the way we see it, I guess, or how we group things together, maybe is a better way to put that. And so the thought now is that committees are grouped by if they are reaching out to the broader community, or if they are serving INA membership, so sort of looking in versus looking out. And, you know, I think this actually sort of plays into both in different ways. And yes, I mean, no one has to show up to a meeting or send an email that is, you know, here's what I want you to do, A, B, C, D, and E. This is how much money it's going to cost, and here are all my ideas for it. You know, committee work really is about committee, right? It's about working with others and trying to solve problems and fill needs. So I think it's a great suggestion that this would come to the office and go to committee. You know, we would invite you to participate on that committee as well, to work through these things, because I'm sure as you've been thinking about this last 2 years, amazing ideas have occurred to you, or trains of thought that you know, you kept coming back to the same part of that subject again and again, and you want to get others to weigh in on it. I can't speak this morning, and those sort of things. So I would encourage you, Tamara, to come so that we can, if nothing else, pick your brain about how INA could do that better. And, you know, like I said, we'd love for you to serve with us on those committees.
Even like you just saying that sparks ideas. So sometimes, like, I have ideas already going in my head about like things that we could do, like why don't we have a webinar that talks about some, you know, where people share their stories about how they did this and then they moved to this, and they just talk about the different types of nannies that they are and just share their stories. But that's why we're better as a team, and why we like to do these town halls, is because we can't think of everything, and you guys have great ideas. So I love that. And I love the potential for, you know, obviously we want to serve the membership. We don't want to just, you know, come up with our own ideas and do what we want to do. We want to hear what membership needs. And I've heard a couple people say like they want to know more about opportunities for nannies, and or if you know it now, it would have been helpful for you as a new nanny, and you can see that other new nannies need that. And so that is a perfect reason why we're here today, is to be able to hear that and talk about how we can make that happen.
And Takita seconded that. She said she'd love to tell her story. She'd love, you know, and I saw that she maybe had a moment where she could talk, but that's past that. You know, I think she was saying, you know, this is there's now at least 3 people on this call. So what is that, like almost half the call here, or a third of the call, of people that share that feeling that maybe we could be doing that in a bigger way. And sorry, I'm just reading a chat. I didn't mean to pause in my speaking, but I'm going to butcher your name. Gonna try really hard. Is it Sarika?
Yeah.
I see
Yes.
you're not muted. Why don't you go ahead and speak if you want to?
Yeah, actually, I'm Sarika from India, and I'm educating nannies. I have an institute, and ma'am, I'm little bit hesitating because it's not. I'm little bit hesitating because we are not habitual to speak English. There is a language problem.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a tiny bit hard to hear you, but I just want to recap to make sure that we're capturing what you're saying. I think you're saying that there can be a language barrier sometimes in the INA. That's definitely, you know, we agree with you.
I understand, ma'am. I understand your language, but it might be that you can't because we are not habitual to speak English. So that's why. Actually, I'm educating nannies and now getting more knowledge about nannies from INA. And I'm very happy to increase my knowledge. I really get amazed to see INA and sport and cooperation with its members. And I'm minute, but I'm very lucky to join these type of meetings. I think it's my second meeting, town hall meeting second. For last year, I'm working with you.
Well, we're glad to have you. And, you know, I agree that there's always work to be done in the language department. We were talking about that a lot in the caucuses at conference. How could we, what is a good way to work in multiple languages to things like conferences, not just our resources, but our live events as well. We are most of the way through translating a lot of, is it just the basic skills at this point, Greta, that we're translating? And those sort of things, because we agree, there are many languages in the world. And while this organization was originally started in the US, it is not a US organization.
No, I'm comfortable. We are understanding. I'm comfortable understanding your language.
That's great. I think that you know has opened up probably more of our resources to you. And I apologize. I'm getting about half of what you're saying, just because I don't know if it's my connection or yours, but I'm having trouble just hearing in and outs. So if I'm misunderstanding you in any way, I apologize.
Well, and as Rachel said, and Martha put in the chat that her audio seems, she's having trouble with her audio, so she'll just listen today. But she did say she was here to find out if there's a way she could help the Hispanic community in Austin, Texas. So I don't know specifically what you're wanting help with that, but that does bring me back to what we were talking about at caucus and how, you know, this dream, I'm not saying we're going to do it, but this dream of what would it be like to be able to present in other languages and to or to translate and just be able to serve more people. So that definitely is something when we talk about diversity and inclusion, and it's something that is on top of mind and continues to be a conversation. And sometimes it's slow moving, but we agree. We want to see, we want to be able to serve beyond what we're serving now.
And maybe a lot of people don't realize this, because I'm not sure why you would. I'm not sure we really put the nitty gritty out there all the time, but we have a tremendous number of people in India that are part of our organization. It's one of the countries that's the biggest outside the US. So, you know, that there's a very large part of our constituency that's in India.
Yeah.
I feel like I saw somebody else's hand go up too.
Okay, ma'am, you can continue. You continue your meeting. I understand.
Did I see someone else's hand go up too? Oh, I'm sorry. Sarika, I don't. I don't mean to cut you off. I think our connection's just
Okay,
not
ma'am.
great.
Okay, continue, ma'am.
Greta, are you able to hear her any better than I am?
No, it's
I'm
kind of
here.
broke. It's kind of broken for me, Sarika. Is there another question you wanted to ask?
No, ma'am. Thanks.
Okay.
This is Helen. Where in India are you based, Sarika?
Yeah. It's Punjab. It's from state Punjab.
In Punjab. Okay, that's great. No, it's just that I'm coming out to India next year, so it would be really great to meet up with you.
Thank you, ma'am.
We've also been talking about that on the board. Like, how can we not just translate things? And again, like Greta said, we always have to work through funding. We always have to work through who could do it, and where would be good places to go. But we've been talking about the potential of exploring INA representing and going out to other places around the world, to conferences, etc. Helen actually, she and Kate, I'm going to mess up Kate's last name, Madhavich, I believe, went to the UK Nanny Expo a few months ago, and represented INA there. And we've been talking about, okay, that went pretty well. Where else could we look to attend and look to invite people to become members of INA, and how can we serve their communities? We only have about 7 minutes left. If you've been waiting to say something.
I wanted to say something. I see Martha got really excited about translation and talking about things like that, and said she'd be love to be included. I'm going to post a link to our website where it talks about the committees. Now, we are not reevaluating, but restructuring our committees. Not that a lot of things are going away. They're just going to be organized a little differently, hopefully smarter, in a way that just makes work happen more collaboratively and more efficiently. But if you're interested in volunteering, we love volunteers. I mean, our organization, we're volunteers. Our organization is run by volunteers. The more we have, the more we can do. So I put a link there. Like I said, that list is where we're functioning right now, and we're really working on updating that. But it gives you direction that if you're interested in volunteering to email the office, and I'm going to put the email address in there too, the member services @nanny.org. And you could kind of share, you could read the committee list, and you could share where you might be interested in. Just know that they're just going to be kind of restructured a bit. So I'll just say it one more time. We're a volunteer organization. And we all, Rachel, me, Helen, we got started as volunteers. We've continued to work as volunteers. And you don't have to know a lot before you get involved. You really can learn as you go, and you can start small. It's not that you have to just join the board to get to work. You really can say, hey, I've got 5 hours a month. I would love to share my time. Here's what I'm good at. Here's what I enjoy. What can I do? Or if there's a specific skill that you bring, like being able to translate, that is something we would love to have as part of volunteer. So anyway, would love to have you guys involved, and as we're restructuring, getting you connected with somebody that can be a direct contact to you and find out what you're interested in and where your skills are and how much time you have.
Yeah,
welcome,
I had someone
Carla,
reach out
in
to
Miami.
me directly.
Say that
I had
again.
someone reach out to me directly, and it was right when we were restructuring committees, and I'm like, don't go anywhere. We do. We want you to come and volunteer, but we need to figure out how we're restructuring so that then you can volunteer. And then, we pass that on to Marcia, and she helps connect everybody together, and Linda helps connect everybody together. And to second Greta, I know that sometimes people don't know, but Greta and I don't get paid to be on the board. We give of our time and energy because we love this organization and we believe in the things it can do. Greta, I think I cut you off. You were trying to say something from the chat, I think.
Oh, I was just, I said, welcome Carla from Miami, and she can help with translations too. Look at this. Martha said she would love love to support with her skills. And I said, thank you, Marcia and Carla, but it's because I had Marcia in the office on the mind. I meant to say Martha, not Marcia. Oh, did I think I sent it to everyone, the email address.
You did. I saw it drop in the chat.
Good. Well, yeah, we've got 4 minutes left. Does anybody have a pressing question, something that they want to ask before we dismiss?
I wonder if you have more. I'm sorry, I totally lost my voice earlier this week at Disneyland. I wonder if you have more information about the workshops that are being offered, like where we could offer them for like a little group of our nanny friends. I know there was one on grief, and I have like some nanny friends now that have been I'm doing this for a couple of years. I was like in the early childhood education field before this for a long time. So I'm like used to having this community that's like really like interested in professional development and continuing that. And I was a little like disappointed they weren't all fully like super interested, but I did have a few that were interested. I think the main thing that was complicated was like, everybody feels really busy and like, what time can we meet and how does this work? And do we have to meet in person or can we do it like from our homes together on our computers? And I just wondered if the two of you had more information about that program, because it sounded like it was something that was just starting. And so far I only saw the one topic dropped. So I just don't know if you have more information about that program, because I was really interested in that.
Yeah, I think that was our pilot. And when I say ours, I did nothing to do with it, but I know that Sue and some volunteers were putting that together, and that the grief topic was, I think it's the only one that we have right now. But I know that it was very well received, the idea, and I think that there will be more coming. I don't have an exact answer on when, but that's something, Sherry, that we can look into and get back to you. If you want to, will you just private message me your email address, and I will connect with Sue and ask her about time frame on that. And I'll get right back to you.
I will do
Because
that
I feel
right
like
now.
it's in the works, and we might not know a date, but I just don't know a date. I love that, just to piggyback on what you were talking about. If you guys aren't familiar with what she's talking about, I forget the name of the program, but it's essentially like preparing a training that you could offer as a group. You could be a nanny, you could be an agency, you could be a community director, a support group leader, and it's just giving you tools to be able to gather and train on a topic that is important and relative, that you would pick the topic. And so I'm really excited about that, because I have an agency here in Cincinnati, but we have a large community of nannies, and we always need those resources and tools and ideas. And so I'm really excited about that continuing as well. And I know that there was just great feedback about that first one. And so I look for that to come in the future. I see your email, Sherry, and I'm gonna.
Okay.
And I know the idea when Sue first brought it up was to be the equivalent of checking out a library book, that members could basically take these resources that INA or those who had sort of donated them to INA had put together, so that you didn't have to go look for a speaker on grief, and you didn't have to put together a PowerPoint presentation on it, and you didn't have to have follow-up resources for it. You could just essentially check this resource out from INA, of course, sort of digitally, right? Not literally, and use it for a meeting of a group you already have, or to pull people together.
And I was really thinking too that it would be a really good like engine for the INA to get the word out a little bit more, because I think like in my group of nanny friends that I've developed, like a couple others also were matched with their families through agencies and have like real contracts, and but a lot of them are not and are being paid under the table, and which may or may not be good for them. I kind of think not, but I can see the reasons why it can be. And a lot, and like honestly, I think even the ones that I know that were matched through agencies really didn't seem to be aware of the INA. When I bring it up with some people get like really excited, like, oh, I didn't know this existed. And then some people, I don't know, they just I don't know if it's just, they just feel like they're too busy to do one more thing, but I just thought it would be like a nice thing to like give them like a sample, because I've been so impressed with like the resources that you guys have provided as I've just been a member for the last couple of years. I was in like, I'm still a part of like NAYC for like the last 20 years. And I think you guys trump them. I feel like you guys have some really, really good resources and have a lot more benefit to just being a member, where I feel like some of the other organizations keep having you pay extra every time they give you something. And I'm like, well, so what was the benefit of the actual membership? But with INA, I see that right away, that you guys really are working for us and for free because you're volunteering. And so I just really appreciate it. And I was hoping that it would be a really great way to spread the word to others and get people more interested in being a part of this.
Thank you. I appreciate that feedback. That's always great to hear. We loved, and we'll share that with the board. We love to hear great feedback. And again, going back to that, like, this is why we do this. You sparked another idea. Like, I love that idea of one of those topics being, the business side of nannying. I say that because 2 years ago, when I went to lead a International Nanny Training Day, Homework Solutions provided a slide deck of information that I could share with nannies. And it took 2 years to get there because of COVID. But just this past Saturday, we used that information. And that information, there will always be people needing that. And so I love, like, as I email Sue and ask her when it's coming, I'm going to drop that that idea that you said out loud and then I stole and create, and you know what I mean? And said, so like, that's again the purpose of this, of the community, and of hearing from you guys. So thank you.
Well, I hate to say it, ladies, but I think we need to wrap it up. We're a few minutes over, and we do record these, and I say edit them, but only in the purpose of, like, for instance, our tech glitch at the beginning will be edited off, and will put us right at time, I believe, once that's done. So we'd like to keep things an hour so that we don't go over other people's expectations. But if you have anything that maybe you didn't feel comfortable saying here, but you still want us to hear, please reach out to the office. We take that seriously, whether it's good, bad, a fully formed idea, half an idea that you want other people to think on, whatever it is. Reach out to Marcia and Linda in the office. If you feel more comfortable reaching out to a board member directly that you may know, please do so. We are happy to hear everything and all.
Yes, and I just want to thank you guys for being involved and engaged and coming today. It just helps the whole organization to be able to connect and hear from you and spur on new ideas. So thank you so much.